What's the most effective strategy to grow to $40,000 a month? Is it booking appointments, or is it doing one call close, or is it a mixture of both? No matter what type of agent you're doing, final expense, mortgage protection, IUL, veteran, annuity, etc. I'm going to break it down in detail today. My name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped 550 agents issue pay, which means pay commissions, $40,000 a month. And on this channel, I try to talk about the methods, strategies, and behaviors of them, as well as some of our agency owners who we've helped scale to $1 million a month. So as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's hop right into it. Okay, perfect. So I want to hop in this today and give perspective on two types of filtering for closing prospects. All right, now, if you do not know, in the life insurance space, like other spaces, but really in the life insurance space, because it's become a thing now, you can either book appointments or you can do one call close. And there's pros and cons to both. All right. Now, where is this coming from? Even in my business, we are actually generating two types of leads. So if you see our ads, one way you come through, you're going to be doing what we call a checkout. Basically just means like you go there, it has all of the pertinent information. You should be feel confident enough that when you see that, you're ready to make a buying decision. We've taken off of the page the ability to buy the leads because I really value relationships and also proper onboarding. It's helping our LTV drastically rather than just people buying leads. It creates no relationship. And personally, I don't like that. And then the other version is going to be like a Facebook form. It has the same functionality, but there tends to be a little bit more of a booked appointment, at least in the past. So now we are trying new things out. But as an agent, I built my business like I would build an agency very similarly, but also learning from it. Now, for you as an agent, there's two different type of ways that you can convert clients. Number one is going to be through a booked appointment. So call said person, hey, Jane, this is blah, 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 getting back to you about blah, 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 blah. Is that correct? Yes. Cool. Confirm some details. Let's book appointment. Let me take care of you. Boom. Right? You confirm if somebody's going to be there. You set a time. Boom. Second one is a one call close. Hey, Jane, how you doing? This is Trey, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, confirming this. Boom. Sounds good. Perfect. Grab a pen and paper. We're going to get this knocked out. Take about 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and get you and your family taken care of. Now, depending on the lead type will depend typically on what you do. So that's what I want to break down today, because before I hop into that, I apologize. There's pros and cons to both. So there's pros for booking appointments. All right. Number one is you have a lot more control. All right. Now, what I mean by that is there are more variables that play into your favor when you book the appointment, because you can control whether or not their spouse is there. You can control whether or not they are actually ready. You may get an objection later on that you could have potentially avoided if you didn't try to go for the one call close. If you book an appointment, because they're in a more controlled environment, you can get them on Zoom. You have control. They've showed up. The intent is also a lot higher because they're actually present, right? So you have a typically, right, increased likelihood of closing when they show. What I've seen is upwards of sometimes 70% can be the closing rate. Can be, let me put can be, just for disclaimer, can be 70% closing rate. All right, the second thing, and probably one of my favorite, is that it plays into lead types demos. What I mean is demographic. All right, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. What that essentially means is, depending on the demographic, booked appointments is more favorable for certain people. These are probably the only two pros. If you get them on the call, you're gonna have a higher closing rate, right? You have a little bit more control because you can get the husband or the wife. You can have everything there that you need to be ready to close the deal down. If they show up, there is no external reason they should not be able to move forward, that you cannot, through sales, be able to overcome an objection. Just a part of it, right? And then it plays more into lead tech types demographics, which we'll go to here in a second. That's about it, okay? The cons for booking appointment, all right, are really the pros for the one call close. We're gonna go through them. Number one, right? No shows. Okay, this is number one thing. When you book an appointment, there is a possibility that they will not show. You genuinely do have you don't get to present, right? And because of that, if you lose that person, you may lose them forever, theoretically. You might not be able to get them back on the phone. So you need to get decisions, right? So when we talk about filtering between, that could be a whole nother video on like how to book appointments effectively and how to do one call close. The goal is to get a decision. So if you frame yourself like that and you get somebody on the phone, like if you've been calling a lead and they finally pick up, you need to get to the point. Even if you like booking appointments, you need to deliberately decide right now, Why did maybe you not show up for first call? Why have you not picked up? And why have you not gotten this taken care of? Because that needs to be discussed right now. If it's, hey, I'm only available because I've been working, that's completely different. But if it's just, you no-showed me and I'm calling you back, don't try to rebook another appointment. You need to get to the point. Why did you no-show me? What's going on? Why are you not moving forward? Point blank, period, right? But the con to booking appointments is that you do have no-shows and you cannot present. And if you cannot present and people don't show, you can't make as much money, right? So that's like one of the more immediate things. The second thing is that between appointments, you lose credibility. Now, people are like, what does that mean? Can't you send them resources? Yes. But more often than not, that's why I said it plays into lead types demos. There are specific lead types where you can gain credibility. And just so I don't forget, right? This could be IUL. Sorry. This could particularly be good in annuity and specialty niches, right? Sometimes advanced market, and I wouldn't even say IUL. Truthfully, I would not. Okay. Now, here's the places you lose credibility. My bad. Y'all know my math isn't the best, right? Final expense, mortgage protection. Big one, IUL. This is huge. I just want to put this out here. This is huge right here. Okay. These are going to be the three main ones where you lose instant credibility. Okay. The reason why you lose credibility is the moment they get off the phone, when you book that appointment, they will probably go research you, right? Research the lead type. Now, if they can research you and can't find anything, you're cooked, right? So when I say lose credibility, it also would be here, right? Lose credibility in yourself. This is an instant way that you can gain control when we start talking about one call closes pros. All right. So when you look at this already from the jump, you're losing credibility because they will go search out the information on their own. Hey, I'm blah, 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 blah. Some mortgage protection, blah, blah. Yeah. We'll talk more about it whenever we're going to call. Whoop-de-whoop. Make sure your wife is there. Boom, hang up. Even if you send them your information, it is now up to their interpretation of what they are going to expect, right? It is not necessarily like businesses where they are inclined to, people that are doing business typically aren't as sketched out or like go off of what they just randomly see because they've obviously opted into something. The intent is a lot higher for businesses when you get leads, right? Because it's not, every single person is not a lead. So it's not diluted in the same way, right? Like if you're a roofer selling to people who want their roof taken care of, like, yeah, I mean, I guess they can go look it up, but it's like pretty straightforward, right? Like most of these things are pretty straightforward. Life insurance is not straightforward. The average person doesn't really know how life insurance works. Shoot, I was going through setting up infinite banking whole life policy last night, looking things up with one of my agents. And I was just like finding new things out that I didn't even know. And I've been in the life insurance space for 5 years. Have I set up a whole life infinite banking? No, I've never done that. But I didn't know. So you got to think like, do you think that an average consumer knows what an IUL is? No. Do you think they know how it works? No. So these people are going to try to look it up on their own or ask around or type it on Google one time. And if they find that it's sketchy, if they find out that they think it can get better rates, you will lose them. So when you book appointments with specific niches, you lose credibility instantly, losing credibility in yourself. This is client goes and looks you up. They go see a review. They can't find your website. They can't find a link. They can't blah, 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 blah. You're cooked, right? It's just over with. It doesn't matter. All right. And then these are the two more immediate ones. Between appointments, you lose credibility and there's no shows and no presentations. That's it. The pro is that it plays into certain lead types, which is honestly only annuity and specialty niches. And in my opinion, there are certain places where you will book appointments where you can have one or two of these versus having all or having none or one. All right. Now, on the opposite end, we're going to talk about pros for one call close. All right. The first and most immediate one is you to finalize the opportunity. All you can ask for in life insurance is just an opportunity to present. If you get 100%, if 100% through or not, you present it. I don't really care how many appointments you booked. I care how many people showed and how many you got to present to. Because even if the person showed and you didn't get to finish the presentation, it's like, it doesn't really matter. It's how many people did I get to go through the whole sales process with and I either won or lost. They either were closed or not closed. When you do one call close, you get to just shoot your shot. It's a 50-50 shot, and that's why I like it in the life insurance space, because you're just shooting. You get straight to the point and you shoot it. If they're going to be nervous and tripped out, they're going to be nervous and tripped out. Now, we'll get into cons or like when not to here in a second. That is the first thing. The second thing is that it does play into lead types that rock. Okay? One of them, final expense. The other one, specialty niches. This is typically good for going to be like veterans, truckers, which I guess no, it's not truckers. That would be, it'd be more like mortgage. Right? IULs tend to be really good here, right? Despite what people think that you need to like do the whole 9 yards, you really don't. You don't have to get on a long call with them. If you explain the concept properly, you send them the illustration on their phone, like they're pretty much good. You can knock them out. Now, can you book appointments for IULs? Yes. And this is the cool thing. This can be played with. You can determine what you want to do, how you sell and what you sell and the way in which you sell and the simplicity or the confusion level in which you sell is very, very important for when you're deciding on how you want to grow. Because then now you know, like, all right, I'm going to teach my team how to do it like this. Okay. And understanding that is super, super important. So final expense, specialty niches, IULs, that's going to really be where you're at for the most part for one call closes. Now, we'll get to it in a second because I want to talk about that. I'll get to the demographics part here. This is it. You finalize the opportunity, you get through, and there is really nothing else outside of that, being honest. Now, cons for one call close is time. The first one is just going to be timing. If you try to go in for a one call close and you can't get it because they don't have their spouse or they don't have all the things that they need at that time, you will lose it. And then it'll be very, very hard to get it back because when you tell them the price, you're cooked, right? So you're not like up here where it says there's a 70% closing rate. If you get to fully present, it's still lower. Like now it's officially like 50-50 because if that person doesn't have their spouse or whatever, like, dude, you're going to be a tough spot. You're going to have to battle some objections. And even in those situations, you want to probably book an appointment. So you want to be able to figure out when that is, right? And then on the opposite, the con is that it hurts specific lead types, okay? Which we'll get into here in a second. All right, so this is really going to be the pros and the cons. They play off of each other, guys, so it's all relatively the same. Now, I want to talk about the lead types in which to do. All right, let's go with the first one that everybody knows. Final expense. Do not book appointments. Do not. Just get it over with. Final expense, direct to the point. They've got money, they don't. They either want it or they don't. Pitch the idea, explain the concept. You can do callbacks, but do not, and when I say callback, I don't mean a formal appointment. I mean like, hey, you're going to be with your husband or wife. Let me just call you right back. Now, the thing is, you rarely have to do that because a lot of these people, they're older, they're divorced, they're widowed. You know what I mean? Like, you can just get right to it. And even if they are married, like sometimes you can have them both, but like a lot of times you just do it right then and there. I always am going for the one call close. I will book an appointment if I really, really, really have to. But it will not be my first preference. All right. Next thing, mortgage protection. All right. Now, here's the thing. There's two types. Okay. One, you can be a true one call close. Now, for me, this is not my first preference. Why? Because they are working. Okay. They're not going to be available to go in. Now, if you just catch somebody at the right time, you can do it. But I honestly do not recommend that you do this. Okay. The other one is going to be, the worker, really who you want. And that is going to be the ideal situation to book an appointment. All right. Next one is going to be IUL. For here, to me, you're going one call close unless no time. You can get straight to it and get to the point. Now, I'm sorry. I'm absolutely tripping. Booked appointment. Unless free at moment. If you can simplify it, knock it out. But a lot of times you could literally just book a quick appointment, boom, go in, knock it out, and you're done, right? And that is going to be the best way that you actually work the lead, is that you book the appointment, you go in, free at a moment, boom. If that person's free, try to knock it out. But truthfully, even then, you can still book it because they may have questions and you don't want to give it away, not get the questions, and they're like, well, call me back another time. And then they got their information, they go. The moment you give the information away, you're cooked. So I would recommend you go for the booked appointment. All right. Now, you have specialty niches, excluding veterans who are like basically age range demographic of final expense. I'm going in every single time for a booked appointment, excluding veterans. If they are a veteran, then I'm going to go for one call close. And then you have annuity / advanced market. And I put these together because some of you do like premium financing, like unique strategies. For all those, we're going to book appointments. And honestly, we may have a follow-up. It may be a 3-call close, right? Like, honestly, it might be a 3-call close. Now, how I look at this, actually, just to be transparent with you all, is I look at it more or less from niches. Demographics. I'm not huge on lead types. I'm more pertinent on the actual demographic that we're targeting. Because you could be watching this and be doing a unique final expense offer that's for people younger. You could be focusing on mortgage protection for people that are in term. They're looking for term, so then it'd probably be younger. So you definitely wouldn't be able to do a 1-call close because they're typically always going to be working, right? And then you have specialty niches. So the way I look at it is age range and what do they do on a day-to-day? Like that determines. Like if their age range, if they're older, then and they're free, it's like, just go for it. Honestly, just shoot your shot. Because here's the thing. I'd rather you go for it and get closer to the end and not give them the numbers and then set up another call to go through numbers than to just always go for the booked appointment and have no shows. Now, one thing we didn't talk about is tie downs. I have an old video that breaks down tie downs in great detail, but you need to understand that every lead type has a preference for what you should do. And I hate using the word should, but let me say, let me not even say should. You can make a decision on what has a better ROI. One of them could be, hey, if I know if I get this person on the phone, I'm more likely to close them because they probably will not pick up. They're just not going to show up. And that is just not worth taking the risk. Like, you've paid money for these leads, whether you generated them at cost or you're buying from a vendor or their age, it doesn't matter. You have somebody on the phone. That's the most valuable thing in anything in sales. Somebody picks up and they say, yes, everything else after that, you should be like, all right, I'm ready to roll. That's a true opportunity. If you do not seize that, that's on you. That's why I tell people all the time that leads don't really matter. If you understand the script and the psychology and you can frame it to where you can get that first yes, everything you do after that is on you. Whether or not they have money, they move forward, every single person is a lead in life insurance. So there is no perfect lead. The person who says they're not interested is the same person that somebody else calls a week later and raises their hand and said, yeah, I would love to have that. There's no such thing as having too much life insurance, because there's different life insurance for different situations. I got signed up with a whole life policy because I just wanted to have whole life and get rid of this other one I have that I didn't like, right? And then I'm going to also get one set up for my business. So it's like, well, why do you need both? It's like, well, one is more just like for me. The other one's more for, tax advantages, etc. So, and then I can add some, so you can figure out what is necessary depending on where you're at. And that is genuinely where I'm at. And where you as an agent have to also think about the clients that you're helping, because they need to know that. And you need to know, depending on the lead type, how you're going to actually convert these clients. Because if you try to go into an annuity and 1-call close, you're cooked, and it's not the lead's fault; it's your fault. You didn't prepare properly for that demographic. If you are booking final expense appointments and you're like, dude, nobody's showing up, I'm not getting any closing. It's like, yeah, why don't you just try to go for the kill off the first call? Just shoot it. You have a 50% chance. I would say if in worst case scenarios with all of these, if you just shot your shot on 1-call closes, you'd probably be in a better place than if you tried to book everybody. So if you had to lean on one, excluding annuity, I would literally go ahead and try to 1-call close everybody. And if you find it works, then you do you. Don't just take my word for it. But what I will tell you is not going to work is that if you try to book all these people and treat every lead type like they should be booked, you will close significantly less. Just being honest. Now, mortgage protection, IUL, and specialty niches, fine. Final expense, I promise you won't. You could bet your last dollar. If the person goes for 1-call closes, they will make more money. They will have more presentations. And even if they're not as good initially, let's say you have a veteran who's good at booking appointments, that agent who just gets his teeth kicked in and learns how to sell, eventually he will bypass the person who is booking appointments for final expense. It just has to happen because you're going to get more at-bats. These final expense demographic people are not showing up to these apps. They're just not. So don't expect them to. Same thing if you're trying to really push 1-call close on mortgage protection, they're not going to do it. And you need to call them at unorthodox times. You need to not just think that they're going to pick up the phone and be ready when you're ready. They're going to be ready when they're ready. That's the purpose. That's the whole entire purpose of it. Right? So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Trey. Once again, I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. You can go to agentleadlab.com and there's a booking link where you can book to potentially partner up with us. All right. What that means is that let me take a step back. If you're an agent and you're looking for leads, the best leads, You're going to go to leadlabcrm.com. It's a website. It's kind of like a landing page, honestly. You can just buy leads there. You're going to put in a lead request. Once you put the lead request in, they're going to click it. They're going to hit submit, and then boom, you're going to be able to receive. The request is going to come to us, and we'll shoot you a text so that way you can go ahead and receive the leads once you pay. From there, what you will then do is once you start working our leads, if you are good, meaning you make money off of our leads, we will then pull you up to ask you if you'd like to partner with us. From you partnering with us, we will discount the rates for you and your team and give you guys access to our leads, right? For no extra cost, just that you would continue to buy leads from us and keep working with us. That's all we ask. And that we would continue to be able to help you grow and you help us grow. Point blank, period. That's our process. If after that you are qualified and we think you're a good fit, we will then pull you up into our custom package where we can build an entire in-house system for you. And that is our process because I want to figure out if I want to work with you just as much as you want to figure out if you want to work with me. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.